Hello everyone, welcome to our debut edition of the WrestleCore Podcast. I am one of your hosts for this evening. I am William D. Morgan, justed by Justin David Kish. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Alright, we are here today to catch you up on all the news that's going on in the week of professional wrestling. We got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Justin, let's go over what you have with us today.
You know, we can talk about, Connor and Adam Rose. I touched based on this on a quick episode I did here on the YouTube channel. You guys listen to this. You guys can go back into our radio excerpts. You guys can find a picture of Adam Rose. That's where the video is located at in one of our latest episodes. But like I said, the wellness policy in the WWE, there's some negative light shining upon it for the longest time now. And Connor and Adam Rose, two guys who are known as jobbers in the company right now. Adam Rose along do with the whole Social Outcast, which I personally am a fan of. I love the Social Outcast. It's the Job Squad 2.0. It's a quick comedy gimmick that WWE had put together. I'm a fan for it. I was kind of a fan of the Job Squad back in the day. I have to have some kind of comedy, during a quick wrestling show. I like a good story. Connor, on the other hand, I was originally a big fan of the Ascension. Their days in NXT. Connor and Victor, since coming over to the WWE, they put some LOD, shoulder pads on, and everybody just started dissing them. They ended up becoming the biggest jobbing tag team, one of the biggest fails in WWE history in the tag team division for quite some time. This is their second violation of the wellness policy, so they're going to be suspended for 60 days. But, this is probably, who cares? Honestly, these are two guys that they're not making a big factor on the main roster. They are house show representatives, or they can even be superstar representatives, because that's where you only see, these guys wrestling it out. So, honestly, the WWE is not really missing anything, with Connor and Adam Rose missing 60 days.
No, not at all. A friend of mine joked the other day with Adam Rose, you knew things were heading south, and there was something wrong when you start feuding with the bunny.
Well, I mean, honestly, if the WWE could actually, sit here and look at, Adam Rose right now, I'm not saying, they should rebuild the character, but I'm all for the return of a Leo Kruger. Leo Kruger is a guy that I really want to see, and you know what? This could be an opportunity that, Ray LaPon, which is Adam Rose's real name, could really go to the WWE, serve your 60-day suspension, then, look at possibly going back down to NXT, reinvent the Leo Kruger character. I think that's really going to, change a lot of fans' minds. It's going to bring a whole new, look to NXT. I know NXT is doing some great job down there. They, Shinsuke Nakamura. A personal favorite of mine, Elias Sampson. They really, brought up a lot of big guys, so they really need to start, bringing, and signing some new talent to, the TV shows of NXT. Like I said, we lost to Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin is up there, and, that's a lot of, foul swoops from the WWE to bring up, Apollo Crews is a guy which I honestly thought could win the NXT championship. So, they took some big superstars in 1 week, in one episode of Raw, the day after WrestleMania, and they brought two guys up, and it's still leaving some holes. I mean, you can look at Samoa Joe, but you really need some guys to really work with. I want to see some sort of storyline. I think that if you reinvent a superstar, and Adam Rose, bring back the Leo Kruger character, I think this could be an opportunity that he could potentially bring it back up.
He could, but speaking on Apollo Creed, you had to bring him up at this point. You had to. WWE is in the midst of redoing that whole roster right now, and I think that's a good thing. You had to bring him up at this point, but that begs the question: who's going to be someone who can sort of kind of fill that spot that he left? Who is someone who can fill that spot that Baron Corbin leaves behind? That person to me would be Austin Aries.
Austin Aries, he's a fucking fantastic, in-ring competitor. I want to see some more from him, but, I think the storyline with him was that him and Baron Corbin was just very short-due. It was, short-lived. I understand that Baron Corbin should have been called up, months ago. Why would you only have, a one-off kind of, 2-week storyline with Austin Aries, then all of a sudden, Austin Aries is officially not working with anybody right now. Baron Corbin got the jump to the main roster. It just really does not make up does not compensate, Austin Aries right now. He really needs to start working with somebody. Why not work with, Leo Kruger down the line? Let the 60 days run its term, come back, and then you have some, promos or vigilant or these little, package videos showing the return of a huge superstar. I know they have a couple of guys. There's a guy, they're shooting some videos of this, some guy coming to NXT, I think, next week. I don't know if he could potentially, be feuding with somebody. I think they're going to have a couple of squash matches. So, there's some guys coming up on the NXT radar, but I just don't think they're going to have like the same kind of, caliber to really, be in the ring and be at the high, how big and how big Austin Aries is.
Well, again, I think he's the person who can bridge this gap. And if you bring the Leo Kruger character back, that'd be kind of cool too. So we'll see what they do over.
Before we, I don't mean to cut you off, but when we were talking about Apollo Crews, do you think it's a bit of a letdown that Apollo Crews did not win the NXT Championship?
No.
Before he even made it up to the main roster.
No, and because you are at a point on that roster, you need stars, but you also need change as well. You still don't have Randy Orton back yet. Seth Rollins not due back for another couple of months. You still need some type of star power. And with Apollo Crews being as young as he is, and showing that he's the ultimate blue chipper, this is a perfect spot, I think, to bring him in. The perfect spot. He could be your first black WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
I think Vince McMahon will be like the greatest thing that ever come, because I'm a huge fan of Apollo Crews. He's one of the most dynamic. I've never really seen a guy that can do backflips at a high level as he can be. He's in shape, very great competitor. I would love to see him WWE champion. Am I saying he's going to win it like next week? He's going to win it tomorrow? Absolutely not. It's going to take some time to build on him, but I'm all for it. I think if he becomes a champion, maybe about a year or so down the line, I think he's going to end up becoming, the United States champion to start off with. I think they're going to give him the Wade Barrett treatment, build him up, slowly, but I think he's going to go above and beyond, Wade Barrett, and he's going to end up winning a championship down the line. I think he's the right fit for a WWE World Championship run.
All right, let's go and move on to some other stories of the week that we got going on here. Again, a lot to cover. Big Show and Shaquille O'Neal, they are still hyping up a Mania 33 match. Get out of here, guys! What are you gonna do? You gonna choke each other again, and then after that you go over the top rope? What can these two big guys do to make you want to see them at the biggest event for wrestling fans? This is ridiculous. Just shut up with this.
God forbid, Big Show was in a sumo match against Akibona at 21. If they want to go for it, go for it. I'm not for it. I don't want to see this match. Shaquille O'Neal, the guy has had more back problems than anybody I've ever seen in the NBA. All right, he was one of the greatest. Yeah, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Big Show has been the celebrity go-to guy. David versus Goliath. We saw that with Floyd Mayweather. We saw Big Show. He's faced a lot of superstars out of WrestleMania. So, like I said, with Floyd Mayweather, I think that was like at 24. I want to say, like I said, Akebono at 21. But Akebono is a sumo wrestler. I know he was a professional wrestler for a while now. And then, what was it most recently at WrestleMania 32? It was him and Shaquille O'Neal in that Battle Royal. So, if they want to have a legitimate match, I'm not for it. I wouldn't give a crap. It's just one of those filler. I don't give a crap. I guess it's just, something to give Shaquille O'Neal, honestly. God forbid, there has been, outside sports, like an NFL super. I think Sean Merriman, one of my favorite NFL players, he signed with the WWE. He never came about it. I'm not saying that Shaquille O'Neal's going to come to the WWE full time. It's just, it's kind of a one-off kind of thing, given the WrestleMania moment. If Ronda Rousey can have a WrestleMania moment with The Rock against Triple H and Stephanie, why can't the Big Show, or why can't Shaquille O'Neal have a moment with the Big Show at WrestleMania? Everybody should have a WrestleMania moment at some point.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about everybody. Some folks don't deserve it. Some folks don't deserve a WrestleMania moment.
If you give Zack Ryder the IC title at WrestleMania, I think that Bo Dallas should have a world championship run.
I think the reason that Zack got that IC title was because he shot that Snickers commercial the week before.
The Snickers commercial.
Which is why I think he got that title. So not everybody deserves a WrestleMania moment. No,
Okay, so if I go and I want to go out and do a commercial for a car wash, does that mean I'll get a WWE title run? I would love to have one.
Ah, man.
Sign me, Triple H. That's best for business.
Best for business. That is so true. A couple other things in the news. WWE has big plans for Sasha Banks at SummerSlam. According to the Wrestler Observer, Charlotte and Natty will feud for 2 months. Then after that feud is over, which you know Charlotte's going to go over on top, Sasha Banks will get her title shot at SummerSlam and win the title there. About damn time.
Oh, hopefully everything goes to plan, because WWE is a freaking loophole, and they always like to change the story at the last minute. You know, everything happens with the WWE at the last minute. I'm just sick and tired of just Ric Flair. I tweeted about this for the longest time. Ric Flair's involvement in these matches has got to fucking stop. I mean, this is uncensored radio. I'm sorry if I, offend some people out there with my curse words every now and then. I apologize. But like I said, let's be honest here. Ric Flair getting involved in every single one of Charlotte's huge matches at the pay-per-views. It's always him getting involved. I don't want to see this happen. I think they should either ban Ric Flair from ringside or kick him out of ringside, because honestly, there's been like 4 or 5 different times where Charlotte lost her championship if it wasn't for Ric Flair. Look at WrestleMania. I think it was when Charlotte was about to submit Becky. Sasha Banks was about to go in there and break it up, and then Ric Flair grabbed her leg. I mean, it was just this stuff is getting washed down. It's getting old, and I think we need a new women's champion. We need a fresh new run, and I think Sasha Banks' run as women's champion will be the best coming since AJ Lee. When she left, when she was one of the greatest, I guess you can say Divas champion. We need someone of that high caliber to really hold that. I'm not saying Charlotte is not that. Charlotte is a fantastic in-ring competitor, but Sasha Banks is just over the top great. She is a fantastic. She gets over with the fans and everything like that. She really deserves this women's championship.
She really does. The fans have been rooting for it almost ever since she got there. Ever since the whole Diva Revolution.
And I really think they really need to break apart from this whole Divas Revolution thing. You got to look at, Becky Lynch and these triple threat matches were just getting washed down. It's always a 3-way rivalry between the 3. Becky Lynch should honestly be, looking at a match between either her and Natalya. Natalya needs to be getting some more TV time. She's a fantastic in-ring worker. I love watching Natty. She continues to put on great matches like she does with Charlotte. Imagine the matches she has with Becky Lynch. Why not? Put that together, WWE, and you can have 2 divas or women's matches, I should say. We're trying to get the D out of there. We need some more women's matches on the main roster. We have a solidified roster of women's competitors. You have Becky Lynch, you have Sasha Banks, you have your Charlotte, you have your Natalya, you finally have Naomi there. Naomi, one of the most underrated women's competitors in the WWE right now, who does not get a lot of shine, who she should have already had a women's championship run, or a Divas title run, you should say, before the women's title even came back into fruition. So, I mean, we have a good roster of women's competitors, man. I mean, I just don't think the WWE is really using it to their full potential.
But I'd rather get it sooner than later. Get it right. Look, I understand that Charlotte is Ric Flair's daughter. You think that this could be her birthright, so to speak. It's not. I get it. She is Ric Flair's daughter, so you want to lead it into the new women's championship, and that's fine. Giving respect to Rick. But it's time for her to drop that title. It's been time for her to drop that title. She has made so much improvement. Being a heel, it's not even funny. She's a great heel, fantastic heel, and she is an athletic competitor. I just don't care for her. And Sasha Banks is going to go into SummerSlam being in that spot. Let's see what she did. Let's see what she can do with it. I hope it's not something that they're guinea pigging her, just giving her the title just to shut up the fans. No. She needs to have a long run with that women's championship.
I mean, I always like to see a new face with the championship. With the IC title, I like to see a new face every now and then. You'll hold the title on for somebody longer than Dean Ambrose was as United States champion. Stuff is going to get very, very, very old. And Charlotte's run as women's champion has gotten very, very old. I mean, hopefully they don't allow her to surpass Nikki Bella's run as Divas champion, because if it goes that long, everybody's going to lose interest in the women's division. It's going to be so washed down. It's going to be so boring. You know, we're going to see the same promos. We're going to see some disrespectful stuff from, you know, Charlotte. I know that's her character. She kind of gets lost in her promos every now and then. But, you know, this is always a learning experience. But we need some fresh new faces. And I think, you know, right now, like you've said, and I agree with you 1,000%, it is now time for a whole new look and a new champion in the women's division. And it has to come at the hands of one of my favorite women's competitors of all time. You know, right next to cheerleader Melissa, Sasha Banks.
Oh, a cheerleader Melissa fan. There we go. Ain't no wrong
Damn
with
right.
that. Ain't no wrong with that, my friend. All right, I want you guys to bear with me for a second. The audio came out. The Hulk Hogan audio came out this week. Have you heard that audio yet?
I have not.
Okay. We're going to take a listen to this audio. Listen very, very careful, particularly when you get close to the end. Very interesting. Go ahead and pull it up right now. It's on SoundCloud for those who want to listen to it. Let's pull it up right now. Any day, any minute, SoundCloud. Here we go.
She jump sides on me because I'm shelled out. She's really into music, and I've been trying to help her. I've done everything fucking with him day and night on the radio. I'm a jackass, and he's working with me to make it work. He goes out and you really shouldn't call her every day and do the shit I do.
What did I just listen to? I heard something about Jackass, and that's basically it.
Keep going, keep listening.
He basically did more for her a year than anybody's done. Okay, he had one song after 10 months, she went back up and back still. And momentum, but I try to be the realist, and this is your option. You got a better option. Said you can decide what fucking. He's gonna put $500 million behind you. Right now, there's nothing else. We're doing the best we can. So it gets to the point where I broke was fucking the black guy's son, where they've been hanging out. I got them holding hands together on the tour. They're getting close. I just want to give a fuck, okay? I'm not a double standard type guy. I'm a racist to a point. Yeah. You know, fucking weird. But then when it comes to nice people, you know,
We all are that way.
yeah, but when it comes to nice people, you can't say. I don't give a fuck. She's already got a fucking football player, a basketball player. If we're gonna fuck with vendors, let's get a rich one. The kid is a multi-billionaire. But the thing is, now they start doing these nasty emails, so someone will ride their relationship. And so now don't ever want to talk to anybody. No.
Yeah. You heard it. Did you hear it toward the end?
Honestly, you know, if you can just, you know, enlighten us with it, because it kind of was kind of a sketch. I mean, the audio just sounds like someone's taking like a gum wrapper or like a Pop-Tart wrapper and putting it up to the phone and just like crunching it.
Yes, he said the N-word toward the end. You have to really listen to it. It is also on SoundCloud. I will post it on the WrestleCore page for those who want to definitely listen. As a matter of
That's facebook.com/group/WrestleCore if anybody wants to join the page. I'll get you guys updated with everything in the world of wrestling, by the way. Independent wrestling results, news, rumors, and updates, guys. I got you guys covered.
Let me see.
Cheap pop there for you guys. Cheap plug, I should say.
There you go. Let me go ahead and save it real fast, and it is. And you have to post it because you have to approve it because you did not make me an admin, sir.
Oh, fine. I'll make you an admin here in a second.
Cool. But
That picture is Hulk Hogan. My God, this guy looks like a. I don't know what's. I mean, I've lost a lot of respect for Hulk Hogan. I mean, honestly, everybody, let's just get this out of the way. Hulk Hogan, one of the most iconic figures in professional wrestling. I give him the credit. NWO. Hogan versus The Rock at Mania. I mean, Hogan versus Andre the Giant. A lot of iconic memories. Memories that you'll never forget. But at this current stage, in, you know, this is 2016, that's everything that he's done in the past. Should you forget everything Hogan did in wrestling? No. But should we love Hulk Hogan now? Hell no. I would not. I don't tolerate that, what he says.
Right.
That is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
I think the guy should be taken off anything that he has ever done. I mean, I wouldn't want his face on T-shirts. I wouldn't want anything about him on any sort of media platform, unless he wants to, say something to us, the fans. Address us, not with a lawyer, not behind a freaking stand in a federal courtroom. Winning your millions of dollars from a Gawker scandal, from a sex tape. Then a Gawker published and you sued him for like millions of dollars. Millions of dollars that he probably would not even receive. Due in fact that lawyer fees, court fees, everything on top of that. You could potentially see just a fraction of that. But not a whole lot, because you still have to go through, like I said, the court fees, the lawyer fees, everything like that. He's not going to get exactly what he actually got. He's not going to get every single dollar of that.
Because he got awarded what?
I don't know the exact amount, but I know I don't want to say it's in the triple figures.
I thought it was like $105 million. How can you get $105 million when the company itself isn't worth any more than 45?
Honestly, I think that's going to end up bankrupting Gawker.
Yeah, me too.
And that's going to suck because I think Gawker posts some funny stuff, but then again, it's like everybody in their mother, honestly, I think TMZ posted a couple of photos, even, here and there, little bits and pieces of it. I don't see Hulk Hogan suing TMZ. Everybody has it up. I guarantee there's like a half a dozen people in America right now that probably has, a copy of it. I don't, and God forbid, I don't want to see that.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't respect Hulk Hogan. I respect what he did in the ring. But how do you respect the guy that goes on racist tirades? That is complete bullshit.
Well, look, I'm not trying to make excuses for him being African American myself. I'm not trying to make excuses for him at all. He did not know he was being recorded, to be fair, okay? So, yes, what he said was bad. I think, as Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith would say it, saying that word with the hard ER, I take issue with it. And he did not know who's being recorded. I get it. I understand it. If we're being fair, but it still should not have come out of your mouth to begin with. So, I don't know if WWE did the right. I understand why WWE did it. They did it as reaction. They did it to cover their ass. But how can you? WWE would not be what it was now if it was not for the actions of Hulk Hogan. So I get it, I understand it. You may see Hogan come back. Hell, if Bret Hart can come back.
Well, Bret Hart didn't go on a racist tire that really,
But you got Michael Hayes up there, and he's been linked to the same thing, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So if that's going to be the case, then maybe you will see Hogan back sometime in the near future. So let's just take the wait and see approach. But I get it. I understand it. I'm there with you too, Justin. He should not have said that. Terrible thing to say. The timing is wrong. He was saying it in front of his daughter, and you have to set the example, and that's not the way you set the example. So I got you. I get you. I'm there with you. So we'll see if he does make a return appearance, maybe a year or two out.
Honestly, I couldn't give a shit if it was 20 years out. I mean, he's still a piece of shit in my mind. Yeah. I mean, I'm allowed to say what I want toward a person. I mean, I just call it how I see it. And I bet half of America, if you guys were to hear this, you guys would agree with me 1,000% of the way. Hulk Hogan, public, not public, behind closed doors. I don't care, what your feelings is on that, but don't say that stuff.
Yeah, you
it's highly offensive.
Yeah, you set yourself up. If you didn't say that, if that word never came out your mouth, and you were being recorded, if you didn't say that, we wouldn't be talking about this subject.
Exactly.
We wouldn't be talking about the subject. That was stupid for Hulk Hogan to say. WWE reacted to cover their ass. I thought it was a little too much, but we'll see.
I mean, whatever your personal feelings is your personal feelings, but you don't need to share it with the damn world.
Yeah.
And just the way it just came out, and how negative it was, very negative, and it really, offends me to a high point too.
But
so, I mean, Hulk Hogan, I hope, you go back to, TNA, or do something with TNA. Bring that company down again. I don't care. Don't come to the WWE. Don't ruin my WWE.
But I will say again, in the interest of fairness, 2 points, and I will repeat it one more time. He did not know he was being recorded. Yes, he was wrong for saying it, but he did not know he was being recorded, A. And B, you have Michael Hayes in your Hall of Fame, and he's been linked to the same thing several times since he's been there, both as a performer and what he's doing now. So, in the interest of fairness, let's get that out there. All right. Couple of rumors want to get your reaction on, Justin. It's being said when Seth Rollins returns, which should be within the next couple of months, he is not expected to be in the main event picture. Why would you think that would be?
He is going to be in the main event picture, or he's not? You kind of cut out there for a second.
He's not going to. He is not expected to be in the main event picture.
Well, honestly, the best thing to go about it is, I've said this before, you can look at, you don't want to immediately throw him into the wolves. Look at every professional wrestler out there that's come back from injury. They don't start off immediately back into the main event picture. The WWE wants to, they really need Seth Rollins back at this point. We're getting a lot of these guys back slowly but surely. We got the Swiss James Bond and Cesaro now. We're coming out with the whole new suit. We got him back. Mm-hmm. And with Seth Rollins coming back, in the next couple of months, this could be an opportunity. I'm not saying this is going to be a confirmed thing. The Shield. This is something that, could it be a main event? Quite possibly, but I think it should be. Because I immediately have an idea for when Seth Rollins does return. I think that at some point we're going to see either Finn Balor or AJ Styles, and this is how credible this should be. I was listening to the Solo Monster podcast, and he even came up. It's only going to be credible why AJ lost at WrestleMania if he defeats Roman Reigns at Payback for the title. From Payback, from there, you can immediately jump into the idea of AJ Styles, forming things with Doc Gallows and bringing things over with Carl Anderson, form the Bullet Club, the Balor Club, whatever the case may be. Okay, and then from there you can immediately, have a 3-on-1 beatdown or a 4-on-1. You can have Finn Balor join the main roster. You can look at that, and then all of a sudden you can see Seth Rollins make a surprise return to try and return and have a return and have an exciting a couple of matches with the Bullet Club and the Shield. Have him reunite with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. That's something that you can really look at. So, honestly, this is something that, the WWE could be going with for a while. Right. I don't think Seth Rollins should be a guy that go after a mid-card title. I know he was the U.S. champion. He defeated John Cena for it. Mm-hmm. But honestly, it was no one really cared about the U.S. title on Seth Rollins. Why are they going to care about it now? A guy who is probably one of the best champions in the last 5 years holding that WWE title. Probably the best, in my opinion. Why would you want to put him back down in the mid card? Yeah. Why would you want to have him run as a mid card champion? Unless you want to have him go after him and Kevin Owens. Imagine Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens matchups. I would love to see that headline. Numerous amount of pay-per-views. But honestly, like I said, having a Shield versus a Bullet Club storyline, 4-on-3 or 3-on-3, whatever you want, with AJ Styles as a champion, I would be okay with it. It's going to really bring down Roman Reigns', I guess you can say, momentum and his rise to fame. Roman Reigns has had a lot of short-lived championship runs. It was already his third run already, and they've all been short-lived. But, in order to make, Seth Rollins come back and have a big angle, you've got to get the Bullet Club, formed and involved as soon as possible, and then have Seth Rollins be that saving grace to really reform the Shield, and then you have struck gold. This you can ride with for a numerous amount of months if you ride it and you book it correctly.
I'm thinking they may want to have some matches just to get him some work under his belt before he starts going back into the main event picture. Work him against, you can bring him back as a heel, you can bring him back as a baby face. If you want to bring him back as a heel, that's perfect. If you want to turn him face and turn Roman Reigns heel, that's even better. Benefits both guys. But I think they're doing it just to make sure he gets some work underneath his belt and make sure that he's 100% healthy before he goes back onto that main event into the main event picture.
I mean, that's totally understandable. I mean, I really want him to, but the only question is who do you want him to feud with? I mean, the talent pool is kind of, sure, we have Cesaro already going after The Miz in the IC title. That's already been booked. I mean, I think the WWE is going to run with that for a while.
You could put him, and I don't mean to cut you off, but you can put him against Kalisto.
You mean Kalisto?
Yep. You can put him against Kalisto because there's no definite opponent for that U.S. Championship right now. No definite opponent for the U.S. Championship right now. None. He has no one to feud with unless you want to say Sin Cara. And no one wants
I would want to put Sin Cara in there.
Thank you. No one wants to see Sin Cara up in there. So he's just hanging on to U.S. strap. Doesn't have an opponent. Doesn't have a feud he's working with anyone right now. You can put him against Kalisto. He can win it. He can get the belt from Kalisto and make some U.S. champ mid-card championship, and then you can start working him against some other folks. You can maybe have him come back as a heel against Kalisto, win the U.S. championship, but quickly face him, make him go babyface. After he's babyface, then he can start taking on the Kevin Owens of the world. He can go ahead and start taking on some of the old League of Nations guys, and then I can build up to the Roman Reigns angle. So, yeah, you can do that with him. I can see that happening.
That's really gonna, jump up in Kalisto, stock in the WWE. I know Kalisto had a kayfabe injury at last week's, tag team tournament. This tag team tournament to get back on, I honestly think it's a travesty. Just give it to Doc Gallows and, Carl Anderson. These guys are fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Carl Anderson. For you guys who do not know much about me, I'm a huge mark for Carl Anderson, the Machine Gun, as my guy right there. Having run with Doc Gallows as a champion, I think, honestly, that's the best way to go about it. But I think they're going to have a lot of interferences throughout this tag team tournament, costing tag teams. And, they made a big impact as well. But, I think, going back to the whole Kalisto and the whole injury, I think that, right now, I don't know what the WWE has officially in mind for Kalisto, honestly. What is going to go about? They're already eliminated from this tag team tournament. Seth Rollins, like you said, it could be a possibility. What you set it up, pretty well with that. But, going down the line, what's really in line for Kalisto? Are you having to do with Ryback again? I mean, honestly, Ryback is should be not even close to any sort of championship. I mean, honestly, as bad as it means to say, it just does not really work with me. Honestly, another thing that they can look at, probably having, Alberto Del Rio go after the U.S. title again. I know they had some decent matches. I know they had a kickoff show match, which was a little bit, it lagged on a little bit, but then again, it still worked. I mean, it's just, the U.S. title, the picture is just growing really thin. Everybody is just, looking around and building around the IC title more than the U.S. title. And I prefer the U.S. title over the IC title any day. So, I mean, that's just me. But they really need to build, something around Kalisto and put it around Kalisto fast, because I think that the WWE has good money on Kalisto. They're trying to build him as the next Rey Mysterio, which I'm a huge fan for. But they really need to find somebody fast for him to work with, because honestly, he's not really competing at a whole lot. He's had some, matches here and there, but it's just nothing. It's nothing for him to really, work week by week and have the same opponent. Maybe, this could be an opportunity for Apollo Crews. Have Apollo Crews jump in the U.S. title run. I know he's doing some squash matches. I know he had a match that lasted long against Adam Rose last week on Raw, right. But have him go after the U.S. title. I think it'll be a good matchup. Two aerial dynamic kind of guys. God forbid Apollo Crews can do a standing backflip. For the love of God.
I don't think he needs to go against Kalisto, though, because I think it's the point. This way, B likes Kalisto. They like him a lot. He signifies what they want. They want him to take that part of the Mexican demographic, so to speak. So I don't think it'll be face on face. I think it'll be a face heel situation. Now, for him to drop that U.S. title. They can run a face and have someone turn a heel. I mean, they can run with Cruz and
Kalisto for a while. I think, I'm not saying, 6-7 months. I'm talking like one of those mid-card storylines that can last 2, maybe 3 at most, and that can also honestly open up with, like you said with Seth Rollins, if the WWE wants to give Seth Rollins, a couple of matches here and there, build him back up to main event stardom, that'll be the best route, like you said. I mean, that's another, but Apollo Crews is a guy that really stands out to me. I'm a kind of guy that thinks that he needs a belt around him sooner rather than later. That's just my opinion. He did not get a tag team run. He didn't get a tag team title. He didn't have a tag team run in NXT. He didn't get the NXT World Championship. He's up at the main roster. I mean, a little bit early in my books. I still think he deserves that NXT World Championship. I think that look at the match against Finn Balor. He was screwed over in that match. I think twice.
Let me cut you off. Let me get in there for a second. Let me cut you off. The only reason why I disagree with you on the whole NXT title thing, he was so popular in the Indies. Everyone already knew who he was. Everybody already knew. He didn't need to be pushed to NXT. He needed to go to NXT to see how WWE worked, to do things the WWE way. Once he learned the WWE way, then you can bring him up to that main roster, and all the true marks, the smart wrestling fans, knows he's a threat for almost any title that he wants to go after. So I don't think the NXT run was necessarily in the cards for him because of what he did on the indie scene. He brought a lot of fans over to the indie scene. So because of his success on that indie tour, his indie run, I don't think the NXT title was something he really, really needed. It would have been nice to see. I don't think he really, really needed it.
I mean, if it's not going to end up being, Apollo Crews, I mean, God forbid, if we had Samoa Joe, I would give it to Samoa Joe. I think, that's another guy that deserves a title. He needs a title on him, and I think that would be another guy. If you put the U.S. title on Samoa Joe and have him, work his way up from the mid-card to the main event scene, he's done that, and when he first debuted in TNA, but he immediately jumped into the Wolves in the X division with the Christopher Daniels, with the AJ Styles, and the Unbreakable match. It was so fantastic. Love that matchup. I will not get enough talking about it. But like I said, I think that Samoa Joe's one of those guys could be, another, that outcast. I think they really need to bring him up because I haven't seen Samoa Joe on NXT TV, since TakeOver Dallas. And I think we're already, 2 episodes into NXT, and I have not seen him. I don't know if they even did a promo, and I probably missed it. But what is Samoa Joe working with? Who is he working with down at NXT? Are you going to continue to run this feud with Finn Balor? Finn Balor should have already been called up. There's 2 guys honestly down there in Finn Balor and Samoa Joe in NXT that should have already been made up to the main roster right now. I think Finn Balor should jump into the main event scene in the WWE, and then you can probably think about having Samoa Joe go a different avenue and look into, a title picture, get him into the IC title, get him into the US title. But like I said, he already has Cesaro going after the Miz in the IC title. Probably that's going to be what the WWE is going to ride with for a couple of months. And then Kalisto, like I said, it brings back up. He has nobody to work with. And I think it's either going to end up being Apollo Crews, or if they can surprise us with Shane McMahon, God forbid that guy's going to end up running Raw for a 3rd week in a row. If he calls up Samoa Joe, I would put Samoa Joe and Kalisto, book it, there you go.
Oh yeah, I was going to get some Raw reaction from you, but you must admit Raw has been good the past 2 weeks.
I mean, Raw has been fantastic. I mean, I'm really into it. Some people, say, it was kind of rough around the edges. I'm not gonna say, it wasn't, it was like a 5 out of 5. I give it like a solid 4, not a 4.5. And Raw the last week was very good. It really meant a lot to storylines. And that's what the WWE has got to really focus on is, make these, promos, make these matches, worthy and have them, build into a storyline. I think that's what the WWE is really looking forward to and really, building around in last week's episode. And honestly, that's the best way to go about business. That's the way you do it. That's how you continue to have fans with us. So, I mean, that's the best way to do it. I think the WWE did a great job last week and the Monday and the Raw after WrestleMania. I think that was great booking for those shows.
All right, let's get into... Push my mic here. Let's get into a few more things real quick before we bail on out of here tonight. We're going to try to keep this thing 45 minutes to an hour. Bayley, according to the PWI Insider, Bayley is not also expected to make the move to the main event roster anytime soon. They plan on keeping Bayley where she is. That I sort of kind of get, because you've pretty much established the women's division over on the main roster right now. So that I sort of kind of get, because you don't want to take your last entity from the NXT women's division and put her over on the main roster. So I sort of kind of get why you want Bayley to stick around NXT. Do you agree with that synopsis?
Right now, I do agree, because if you take Bayley out of the picture in NXT, who does it really make you? Who does it really leave you with? Nia Jax, Asuka. I mean, Dana Brooke, I'm not a fan of. I mean, I know you gave me some heat last week when we did a podcast. I'm not a fan of Dana Brooke at all. I don't think she doesn't impress me a whole lot. That's just my opinion. It's just who really is there to really solidify the women's division out of NXT after Bayley? You can look at Miss Glitter, Gliss, Sparkle, and Bliss. And I've always been really, highly on Alexa Bliss for the longest time. I called her the next Trish Stratus. A lot of people have said, Trish Stratus, that's kind of a, shooting for the stars there, Justin. I'm like, yeah, because look at her in the ring. She is very good. She can take a moonsault like anybody else. She can give a moonsault like anybody else. She can, sparkle up a little bit, put a little bit of bliss on it. So no pun intended. But she's a good in-ring competitor, but she's not ready to, take the entire NXT Women's Division, take it by default, and run with it. She's not that person yet. She needs more matches. She needs more airtime. She needs to get away from Blake and Murphy as their manager. That's just mine. I think, if she gets, if there's a storyline involved, she gets done with Blake and Murphy, have her move on, have her go her own avenue. Then all of a sudden you're seeing a whole new transformation in Alexa Bliss. Then, as time goes on, you can run with that for a couple of months and see where it is. And then you can think about, thinking down the line, Bayley can end up getting the call up to the main roster. Then you can have your new number one girl to look at in Alexa Bliss, and then you can have her feud with, Nia Jax and Asuka, whoever the hell you want to. It's working out pretty well for Alexa Bliss, in her early developments. I'm a huge fan of it.
So you don't like Dana Brooks at all?
It's not that I don't like her. She just has not really, done anything in my book to really like, wow, she's a fantastic in-ring competitor. She's barely been in the ring as is. I'm not really sold on her. I just don't think that she's going to be the right option for anything. I know she's a bodybuilder, and the WWE, God forbid, has worked around bodybuilders and so on and so forth over time. Signing these big bodybuilding type people. It's just enough with the bodybuilding. Get people who have actually done in-ring work, not just, okay, I can lift 500 pounds. All right, I understand that's what they're looking at in the whole training regimen, but some of them have failed. Some of them have not even made the the main roster because their background is completely different from weightlifting to professional wrestling. Can you take a bump? Okay, yeah, you can pick up 500 pounds. Okay, so can a lot of people who are other bodybuilders. But what does that, do for me? I want to see someone who can really, put it out in the ring. And God forbid, I say that 1,000 times already, I have not seen it from Dana Brooke. I am not sold on her yet. I am not in on her yet. I'm not counting it out. I want to see something from Dana Brooke, and I want to see it, sooner rather than later.
Wow. We shall definitely see what goes on. I don't have a problem with Dana Brooks. Is okay. She does need to improve in the ring, but I don't think she's that far off from being a legitimate competitor. But we'll see if she does get better in the ring. A couple other stories you want to get to. Nikki Bella hopes to return this summer, and she'll probably be on a reduced schedule. And I don't think you'll see her doing a rack attack anymore.
Rack attack.
I don't think you'll ever see her do that again. I think the female Lex Luger's done. Rey Mysterio will be going back to AAA and is expecting to be used like Brock Lesnar with limited tour dates according to the Wrestling Observer. Good to see from Rey with that knee and his age and attrition. Good to see that he is taking sort of a lighter schedule but is still working. Happy to see that. According to WWE officials, the League of Nations are going to be breaking up soon, and there's no word on what's planned for the rest of them. Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, or Rusev. I don't know what WWE can do more with those guys that hadn't already been done. As you know, they already kicked out King Barrett, who's set to be leaving, I think, in July. So, we shall see. We will also want to sad report on the death of Balls Mahoney. He passed away this week. ECW alum, one of the greatest, one of the best hardcore wrestlers I've ever seen. What are some of your thoughts on Balls Mahoney?
Starting off with Nikki Bella, maybe she'll go back to doing the 6-Pac X Factor. God forbid every single women's competitor in there has done some sort of 6-Pac related finisher maneuver. As for Balls Mahoney, condolences out to the family. I missed that guy a whole lot. When I first heard of it, I immediately went to the network and started watching some Balls Mahoney matches. Hardcore memories, moments. Solidified none other than the hardcore wrestling. One of the greatest of all time. I even posted a picture on our Instagram, Nexus Sports Network. You guys can follow us on Instagram. Tommy Dreamer even liked the picture. I was like, now that means a lot to me too. But honestly, we're mourning, we're mourning the loss of Balls Mahoney. We miss him, and hopefully he's looking down on everybody right now. And we miss you, Balls, man. We love you.
Also in the news this week, when it comes to Titus O'Neil and the Vince McMahon incident, I know you remember that. Former WWE superstar JTG says it wasn't his first offense. Says he's done stuff like this in the past. And Titus is already talking about leaving WWE. He's talking about leaving when his contract is up. I hope that doesn't happen, but we shall see. If he does leave, Big Show is in the news again. He tells Stone Cold Steve Austin that NXT is not pulling in the younger kids like WWE. Big Show, you need to shut up. You are so out of touch with that statement.
He's living back in 1998.
Yeah, he really, really is. And finally, the predicted card for WWE Payback. We know 2 of the matches: Reigns versus Styles, Miz versus Cesaro. Based on storyline, we should see Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose, the Wyatt family versus the League of Nations, Charlotte versus Natty for the women's title, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, the Dudleys versus Enzo and Cash could also be added, and a New Day will defend the titles versus the winners of the tag team title tournament. So that's my prediction for WWE Payback. We'll see if that comes to fruition. From what I understand, Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose should have happened at Mania. But for some reason, WWE changed their mind. And Nakamura, he was in the news this week saying that he'll be working upcoming live events on the main roster. So good for him. Good for him getting his feet wet in WWE. Good for him. Anything else you want to add to our debut show this week, my friend?
I know NXT has a new tag team on the way. I know the Attack Mojo Rawley. There's nothing really a whole lot outside of that. I know that one of them was a former Bellator competitor. That's all I know. I'm not greatest with names. That's Sunny Dehensa and Gazim Salami. If I'm saying that correctly, I'll leave a link to in our group page, facebook.com/groups/WrestleCore. Join us. We got a lot of independent wrestlers in there as well. Cheap plug again. So, outside of that, they're known as the Authors of Pain. So maybe they can be debuting on the NXT roster probably in the coming weeks. I'm going to be looking forward to that. But, outside of that, pretty, interesting week. Pretty interesting week in wrestling. We're going to try and come on here every Sunday to recap the week in wrestling. Probably end up doing some Raw reviews. You probably get that from me. NXT reviews. You probably do a couple of those down the line. Pay-per-view reviews or previews and reviews. We're probably doing a couple of those. Bring back the recap podcast down the line after the end of every single WWE pay-per-view. Probably end up doing some Evolve show reviews. I know everybody's trying to get us to do some Evolve shows. I'll do my best. If they were recorded and they're on the internet, I'll try my best to watch, review it, and give you guys the best. I want to start doing some more independent work. I know William is a huge independent guy, including in the world of women's professional wrestling.
Yes.
So, he's very huge on that. So if you guys ever want to talk to him about it, he is the guy to go to for that. I know he has his own podcast. I'll allow him to plug that here in a second. But you guys just keep on tuning in. I know we're expecting to take this week by week, day by day, video by video, show by show. You know, we're going to try and gain some new viewers. We're going to try to go live here on some, you know, Google Plus Hangouts. You know, we have a lot of, you know, investing time into this. This is what we want to do. We want to give you guys the best coverage in the world of wrestling. You know, we expect to, you know, get from, you know, 10 to 20 views in the first couple of episodes. Then we're hoping to get up there in the hundreds and maybe the thousands. We have a lot of time and passion to put into this. And you know what? I think this is the, you know, we all have to start somewhere. The time is now for this show. WrestleCore Podcast, WrestleCore Radio, whatever you guys would like to call it. You know, this is step one in one of many episodes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And
hope you guys love my little promo there.
There you go. There you go. You guys can catch me every Saturday night on rantemradio.com, Wrestling Call-In Show, every Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern. That number for you guys to jump into the show, 706-993-4606. Justin may be making some run-ins on the show on Saturdays when he's off. And I will be there each and every week to give you the latest on professional wrestling. Also gives you guys a chance to call in and get your thoughts and opinions heard. And we'll get some good wrestling discussion going on as well. Hit us up on Facebook under the Wrestling Call-In Show. Hit us up on Twitter at Wrestling Call-In. You can join up at the website, thewrestlingcallinshow.webs.com. So those are the ways that you can get in touch with me there. If there's nothing else, my friend.
No, man, that really, you know, concludes it for us. You know, you plugged your social media. I'm gonna plug mine real quick. Twitter.com/Justin David Kish, Facebook.com/Justin David Kish. I talk all things sports, guys. On my Facebook page is personally just about sports. I don't like to talk about my personal life. I'm a very, you know, to myself kind of guy about my personal life. If you guys want to talk some sports, follow me, add me. I'll give you guys everything in the world of sports. I'll give you guys a nice debate. You want to debate me in sports, wrestling, anything like that? Come get some, because I'm ready for you guys. Come debate me. Bring it on.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. I will see you guys next week, hopefully Saturday night, and definitely here on Sunday. Maybe we'll open up the phone lines. You never know. So we'll let you know when we do another podcast, and you can call in. All right, my friend Justin, it's good to be here, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Can't wait to have you on next week.
All right, guys, we're done. We'll see